It's Andy Hektic, man.
Oh, hey, it's Andy.
What up? Oh,
You got one?
oh, is this what you're giving me? Shit.
Oh, yeah, dude, take it,
Fuck
bro.
yeah.
Take it.
Alright. Where's your drinks, guys?
Oh, that was mine.
Oh,
Just take it, man. It's all good.
Take it.
Brendan and I share drinks.
Yeah, we share one. Go grab one.
I'll grab one of yours.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, yeah.
I got a nice
yeah.
little no sugar Gatorade.
Let's have a bev.
Pineapple. You want the pineapple one?
How you feeling? We're live, by the way. Don't spill any beans just yet, my friend.
We're already live.
Yes, sir. This is for you. Keep that on you. How you been? How's the drive here? Not too bad.
It's alright.
Bit cold lately.
Yeah, it is a bit cold.
Yeah, it's really.
Wait, whoever drank that has to finish it.
Andy said whoever's drunk in that has to finish it.
Yeah.
That's
I'll finish it. Don't worry. I'm
Do you
driving.
mind if
I love driving.
on the way.
It's the fucking best.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, look at these guys trying to influence me to not drive back.
Yeah. Look, we're taking
The
care
old
of you.
Andy would have driven with us. Come on.
You God's strongest soldier, alright? We have faith.
Here you go, take that.
Oh.
What's wrong?
Oh, wait, hold on. If I just move the camera back a little bit,
Yeah.
make it all cozy.
Feel
How's
free,
that?
man.
Is that enough drink?
No, it's okay, thank you. I actually don't drink.
Ah,
Yeah.
It's Mormon.
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Alright, welcome. This is Project Gact, Couch Surfing. This is a very familiar face for us. We've got Andy Hektic on board from Shokk Media, Shokk Productions, Knockouts coming up, Knockout DJ, which is exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Exciting.
Kinda-
You've done it before.
Yeah, took me by surprise. Honestly, didn't think it
Really?
was going to happen this year, but here we are.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate and blessed to be on the lineup, and
But-
I can't wait.
We're not talking about that today. Hey, we're talking about something a bit more, down to earth, a bit more about you, which is pretty good. So yeah, how's everything been going since the last time we've caught up? Like, in terms of like your mental health, I guess with on track or like with career and everything. How you feeling?
Yeah, I was actually thinking of that on my way here because I know when I came on here last, it was a bit of a difficult period for myself, mentally as well. But I feel like I'm so much better. Like my mind's a lot clearer. The events are doing well. Like the last, March, we had, 3 events in March, and then we had.
Yeah, that was huge actually.
Yeah.
That was massive. Yeah.
And then with Future Noise as well, that was just incredible. Like,
Yeah.
I was explaining to Rob Weaver before. That was probably the best crowd reaction I've seen at a Shokk event.
That's good. Yeah. No. It was. I think even though the space was a little bit narrow, I think everybody still just enjoyed the vibe. It kept everyone really close together, which was really, really good. And yeah, everyone seemed like they had a really good time. Something outdoor for once as well. We don't normally have that Shokk, eh?
Yeah, look, I didn't want to actually call this an outdoor event. I feel like it's too cheap of a victory to claim that.
Really?
Like, when I say we're doing outdoor, I'm like, it's gonna mean something a lot more than what we did at Brightside. Yes, there was an outdoor element there, but if you notice, we didn't post anything about that at all.
Yeah.
There was no mention of outdoor because, like I said, our aspirations to do outdoor is much bigger. Like we're super proud of the achievement. Not going to take anything outdoor, especially with Shokk events, has to have a much bigger meaning to it.
Yeah. So you got bigger and better goals, obviously, in mind. Yeah.
Someone say Shadows in Wonderland?
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Well, I don't know. It's anything's possible at the moment. I think most people are probably thinking something's going to happen in Queensland with HSU. I can honestly say I don't know. But I would like to think it will be something that will happen in the future.
He's playing with us. He knows.
He's trying to tease us, bro.
He knows. We actually have someone here who's moved over from Melbourne very recently. So Sunny, and she's obviously been at a lot of events in Melbourne and coming to Brisbane. That was her first event, the Future Noise one, and she had a great ball of the time, and everybody was quite welcoming. So obviously, like that Brisbane community has always shown that super tight knit family vibe. Everybody kind of gets together. Even the security guards, we were watching some security. They were really into it. So like Shokk always brings that element of family and community, which is super awesome.
I want to finish the glazing off and just say that, Andy, we're very proud of you. I don't know if anyone said that to you and Andy.
Yeah, man.
But we're very proud of you, and from the bottom of our hearts, you don't just create events, you create community. which is much more important than just gang, 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 gang.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we just you guys will always have a special place in our hearts. It's where we all started,
Yeah.
and we're just very proud of you. That's all.
I think also as Project Act as well, like we, I wouldn't say nothing without you guys, but definitely you guys are the catalyst to like, towards our success or what we've done so far.
If we didn't
Yeah.
meet at 9 years, this would have never happened.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
You would never been with Eileen.
And we just happened to like meet the right people at the right times, and got really, really connected, which is super cool. Virus, how you doing? How you going, man?
Sup, Lucky?
Is that his name Lucky? I thought it was Forrest the whole time.
Wait, actually, hey,
Oh, whoops.
can someone get me a soju bottle? I need a. There's no soju. Oh no, I'm sorry, my man. He's
Vodka.
he's got a really big thing for soju bottles, but they must not be green. They're not allowed to be green. We may keep sure when you have your green room, make sure there's one bottle of soju, not green bottle.
What a purist.
Yeah, okay, now that all makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I see why Lockie's all sus about surgery.
Yeah. So let's get right into the nitty gritty of it. So we're taking, from what I've heard, we're taking quite a long period of time off for Shokk at the moment. What are your thoughts on that, first of all? And how do you feel like maybe is there something that you want to try and like fill in between? Or are you going to kind of use the break as best as possible?
It's an amazing question, man. Truth be told, I think,
Yep.
I don't want to take a long break from doing events, but truth be told, I think it's necessary at the moment because it's a tough industry right now. It's gotten so much tougher since the last time we've spoken, and I think no one is immune to failure. No one is immune to essentially becoming out of business in events. I'm seeing so many people around me nationwide.
Yeah.
Losing business. When you look at Splendor and the Grass, and when they cancelled, I think that was a big wake up call for everyone.
For everybody,
no
yeah.
one expected such a mammoth to fall.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, does it scare you knowing like these like mainstream? These are mainstream like events like that everyone can come to, and then what does that say to you when you guys are a very niche genre? Does that ever scare you or like kind of put you on your toes?
Yeah, it's honestly creating new challenges. Just trying to brainstorm yourself out of this it's a real big challenge. And I've always said like Future Noise has to be that event that really succeeds. It has to be our best event to date, because the way I was seeing it is, if it doesn't, then I think it would have dealt a huge blow to our confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not just for myself and Andy, to the whole scene in Queensland.
Yes.
And that to me would have been very troubling. That to me would have been the start of a very bad end. Like I wouldn't have been able to think of anything worse. And at one point, I guess in March, truth be told, I actually was about to cancel Future Noise.
Yeah, I did hear on the day that you
Yeah.
had told me that. Yeah.
Yeah, and what happened was we were meant to do a show the night before Midnight Mafia.
Yep.
And, I remember announcing that on Instagram saying, yep, save the date, May the 4th or 3rd, I think it was.
Yes.
And yeah, the reaction was great, but then once the Midnight Mafia lineup dropped, like my heart just sank. And I'm just like, we're going to fail.
Oh.
We're actually not going to do well. And at that point, we did everything we possibly could to change the date.
Yeah.
We were meant to have Vertile the night before as well with Future Noise.
Oh, jeez.
But like, I don't think anyone would have went. Maybe you guys would have, because
Yeah.
you didn't go Midnight Mafia.
Oh, yeah,
And,
don't call us out.
But the truth is, I think it was the right decision to move it to the next week. The venue weren't happy with us.
Yeah.
Naturally so, but thankfully they were very accommodating with our situation. HSU were extremely accommodating.
Yeah.
And we managed to do it the week after, and look what happened.
Exactly right. Yeah. Well, as a business, obviously you got to take charge of these kind of scenarios as well. Hey, and like I think even for a mainstream business, like even if you were running a cafe and things like this happen, you got to be on top of that. You got to be able to adapt into certain situations. Hey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, in the past 12 months, I guess with the cost of living crisis in Australia becoming more and more apparent, what have you seen like change in the scene with events, and what have you noticed like directly impact Shokk itself?
Now, I think at the moment we can honestly say that we're weathering this storm better than most, and to remain that way. That's why I think this break is necessary. But back to your question, like I think what's happening is people are being a lot wiser with their money. You know, I think the days of clubbing, like I don't think you hear many young people say that anymore.
Every Friday night, let's go
Yeah.
clubbing. Let's go to
That's
Pro-
gone.
Pro-
That's gone. That's gone.
see a pro
yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, so you can see what's happening. We're seeing we're seeing unprecedented times. Like I really feel sorry for a lot of venues at the moment because a lot are actually doing it tough right now. You know, I've had so many discussions with so many venues in all of Queensland, rather, you know, from small to the big ones. And the thing that everyone has in common is all their shows are affected. Doesn't matter what genre it is. Can be dance music, can be house, can be techno, can be a comedy show. You know?
Gotcha.
Like, every show is suffering right now. And I think, like, if we're going to spend money and go out these days, we want to ensure that is going to represent value for money.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I think that's what the community has been saying, like, since the talk has been going around that we may not see a lot of events coming up or anything like that. A lot of people are looking out for that standout-ish event, you know? And that's what I had told a lot of my friends coming up to this. It's like, if you are going to have a hiatus of some sort, it's how can you maximize that to ensure that when you do come back that everybody's like, oh, like I really want to be there. And Future Noise really played that out for you, hey, where everyone's left off on a really good note. And even if you were to have a hiatus here, they'd be like, well, I need to be at the next Shokk event because the previous one was, you know, outstanding. Like, yeah, it's like all the newcomers have come along to that event. I saw a lot of international people. So you play at like Vietnamese for Vietnamese events, is it? Yeah, so I saw a lot of you know, people from different cultures rocking up, which is super awesome once again. Yeah, so you've really built that foundation coming into this break. Now back to that question with the break, what do you plan to do at this point in time? And you, like, I think it's completely okay for you to say that there is no plans just of yet.
Well, I think first and foremost, you know, I actually just want to enjoy myself and just kind of do normal things.
That's crazy,
first
man.
and foremost.
That's crazy. You're not allowed to do that, actually.
But secondly, like, you know, like, not gonna lie, what transpired at Future Noise, it's given me like so much more motivation to just really get back into it. And I'm constantly having to tell myself, no, you know, don't do that. You know, you plan to have this break because you know it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what I want to do, why I'm here today, you know, is to try and go back to basics with, like you mentioned, community before.
Yes.
Me trying to kind of contribute a lot more to that, you know,
Yes.
like, because at the end of the day, the whole community aspect, you know, it's gotten you guys to where you are today. It's gotten me to where it is today.
Exactly right.
And I want to start doing that again because I feel like, you know, I've been so absorbed with events and I've just kind of lost that aspect, and I'm really excited to try and regain that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want the people to convince me, Andy, Shokk Events to do something, you know. Like I think doing like international parties at this point in time a bit unrealistic. The options we have just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it's just better to not do it.
Exactly.
Some people have floated the idea of doing a smaller event, but I really want the people to drive this. I really want the people to kind of
step up.
Convince me, like convince everyone that this is the right thing to do, you know. And I have some ideas, but once again, this is why I want to go back to basics. I actually want to be convinced by the people. I want to talk to people and be like, hey, you know, what is it that you want us to do? Yeah. And let the people decide what's going to happen from now until,
that's exactly right.
until our next event.
I had a question. So you know, obviously the hardstyle community in Brisbane is fairly like small. No, it's not small, but it's a specific amount, right? And you did the collaboration with Culture 316. I think that's a great way to branch to similar genres to get more people in the community. Was that successful, you reckon? Would you ever try that again? To do like, hey, let's do hardstyle and drum and bass, or hardstyle and hard techno. It's similar genres. People, maybe we can pinch some people back and forth, you know?
Yeah, look, I think if the opportunity came again, I would like to, you know, contribute a lot more to it. I guess I was in Vietnam at the time. I actually had a family emergency and I couldn't come down for it, actually. And at the end of the day, I think we learnt a lot through that experience. But yes, I would do it again, but I think we just have to be a lot more clever about it because it did introduce us to new people. It did give us the opportunity to host, Dematic and Host Restricted,
Yes.
who I've got, a lot of great respect for as artists and professionals, and having Jackie involved from WOW to, promote this event to his audience, I think it was great exposure for everyone involved.
Exactly right. Yeah, I think I was talking to some of my boys about like Colin Hennes. So shout out to Colin Hennes there. But he's really like the bridge between mainstream music and hardstyle. So being able to, I guess, have an attachment to a certain group of people that don't really know what hardstyle is, but have heard about it, and then kind of bringing in that pop music or some trendy music and fusing them together. And I think that's what this community really needs right now, is somebody who's willing to bridge that gap, like Kick Cheese, bring back the old school era of K-pop people who do all the dances, and even the new era of K-pop people, and fusing that together with something that we love and not many people know about, isn't it? How do you feel about that?
I think it just takes more special individuals, like you think of what you guys are doing. It's taken a long time for me to see someone step up and fill those shoes, and I think the same thing needs to happen for this so-called artist, like we need more and more people to produce.
Exactly
we
right.
need, and I try my best to try and give these guys as much exposure as possible,
Yes.
through booking them, playing their tracks in my sets, but we at the moment we just need more and more people, because I do believe one day we're just going to find this one special person who's really going to ride the flag for us
Exactly.
very high and get very far.
Yeah.
But it's just, honestly, I'm still waiting for that one person to do that,
It's just like a matter of inspiring them. Hey.
It's tough. The industry is just tough, We've had so many people who've tried to do it. We've had, Howard, who's recently, called it a day, and he got quite far with doing that as well. But at the same time, I do understand why he's made the decision.
Yeah.
It's a brutal industry, and you really have to, you really have to expect nothing and really feel like you're getting nothing to get something in return, because one of these days you'll make your big break, and that's what it takes.
Exactly.
Some people sacrifice countless years to get nowhere, and that's unfortunate, but that's kind of what you need to do to be successful. And
Yes.
sometimes an element of luck does come into play. One day, this artist who's got a lot of great influence might hear this track from a no name, and then
Starts
he gets
playing
big,
it. Yeah,
similar to how
exactly.
Martin Garrix got
Yes.
big,
Yes.
So, but that doesn't happen every day.
No,
so,
definitely not. Yeah, it's about the work ethic and the perseverance that it takes to be an artist, isn't it?
I've always said, like, whoever's success, like whenever someone else's success happens, it's never gonna be the same for the next person.
No, definitely
You're gonna
not.
inspire the next lot,
Yes.
but their journey on the way there is gonna be so much different.
Yeah, like there probably won't be many Colin Hennes coming out of this, like who
No doubt.
post a couple of videos here and there, and it kind of blows up. It's that first initial shock to the social media branding that catches everybody's attention.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
what you said. You can kind of if you follow like a Colin Hennes, if you follow
Yes.
every step of his journey to the T, you'll never get the same results.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
it's
you got
highly unlikely.
It's highly
yeah.
unlikely. You have to, I guess, change up the scene somehow, make a big splash. Whatever that is.
And I think that's what you guys have done too. Like Brisbane's not very well known for hardstyle events, and you guys have come out of the water with something pretty large, and it's just caught everybody's attention by surprise, and it's really kicked off extremely well, and you guys are taking full advantage of that, and that's super awesome. I think that's what you guys needed, and that's why you guys have such a great reputation in the scene amongst all of Australia. Like, I'm sure I've talked to a few people even in Melbourne and Adelaide, and they're like, yeah, we know Andy and he's a beast, and we love Shokk and all that stuff, So like, yeah, you're nationwide renowned really, and I think you guys are doing a great job. Like, we can't say that enough once again. And yeah, we definitely look forward to like everything that will come about. So now going back to the roots, when you first started Shokk, do you feel like the community had a big part of it, because you guys only had a name from DJing in clubs, I guess at that time? Hey.
Yeah, it was so much different back then. There was no community back then. I guess the community came a year after Shokk started, with Hard EDM Brisbane, and that's kind of what really kickstarted the whole community and whatnot. And that's kind of where I've actually been neglecting as well. I haven't been contributing to this community I created for a long time. I just think why I started this community, like I've just been turning my back towards it, not intentionally, but it's because of the demands of this industry. You know,
Yeah.
like when you start doing the things that I do, like the greater picture just takes control over everything, and you start to forget about these things that brought you to where you are. Like the whole community aspect. Like now that I have so much time, you know, I want to be able to do a lot more things. Like I remember when we spoke about doing more things out in the public, you know, I'd like to explore that as well. And
Exactly. Yeah.
it's kind of, you know, like I think hardstyle is a big element of why we're all friends, but I think if you want a stronger community, there needs to be other elements that get us together.
Exactly right.
Shokk Run Club.
Shokk Run Club. Yeah. NSC just did that. We can't take that anymore.
No, about Shokk.
I mean,
A
I don't know
volleyball
if you want to
club.
dox it, but like what you guys do on Wednesdays, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's super
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can- you
yeah.
can
If you want to like let everyone know like what you guys do as just a Shokk team, is this every Wednesday as well?
Yeah, every Wednesday we go bouldering. We switch up, you know, every Wednesday. Start around 7 p.m. and anyone's welcome, you know. But we've seen so many people like you know come, and a lot of them end up, you know, coming back time and time again, you know. And
Yeah.
it's great because climbing is one of those things where it's a fun competitive sport, not like a trash talking, not like a very
It's a very
egotistic-
supportive,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
There's so much support, and when you see someone like, you know, go crazy on a climb,
Yeah.
you're just like, wow.
Wow,
And
yeah.
it shows you how to do it, and you're just like, okay, maybe I'll try that.
Yeah, yeah.
Brandon, next week, man, we're gonna come. I already told. I met him this like a couple days ago. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm dragging Brandon along next Wednesday. So
He just wants to bring me, so he wants to see me fall over.
no, that's not it. No, it doesn't even hurt. It's just like it's very padded. It's good.
I was thinking, so I got a couple ideas. Alan and I were doing soju and get to know you. So a little dating thing for social drinking. I was thinking of doing tennis lessons. So I was thinking that if we could get everyone in the hardstyle community to maybe come over for a tennis lesson that I will coach, and I will feed balls, and I will teach people how to play, and we can start to play against each other, and we can book out a couple of courts and play some hardstyle on the courts, and, you know, just enjoy the music, enjoy the vibes, with fruit as well.
Shokk Run Club. Is that
Shokk
still on the
Run
table?
Club. I might do walking. Project Gag's
Project
walk
Gag
club.
nature walks. Oh, no, sorry.
Hiking?
Shokk hiking.
Shokk
I'll
hike.
tell you what, I've been running recently, and like the
Okay.
last thing,
How's your knees?
they're fine.
You
but,
call him
like,
old? You call him old? What the fuck?
My knees would hurt. My knees would hurt.
How are you meant to socialize on a run? On a walk you can, but I know when I'm running, all I'm thinking about is my breathing.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I even gonna be able to, you know, construct a sentence together?
How do you do it, bro? 10 more kilometers, man. Yeah, I don't know about that one. You might have to
okay.
rethink that
Well,
one.
what about, how about, I know you guys might be a little too ethnic for it, but Shokk lawn bowls. Well, wait, hold on. Think about it. It's outdoors. It's in the sun. You get the vitamin D. You get to play lawn bowls. It's a community sport. I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea too. Lawn
With
bowls is
beers
actually
on the
so
lawn
much
bowls
fun. It's,
in the sunset. Come on.
I only did that like maybe a couple years ago as part of our Christmas party. And I'll tell you what, my perception on lawn bowls just completely changed. And I'm just like, this is the coolest thing ever. I actually had an idea of wanting to do, you know, like a Shokk team, like lawn bowls thing, but it was just too hard to coordinate. Maybe we can open this up
Yeah,
to the
well,
public.
I
man.
think
It's so much fun, man. And the good thing about lawn bowls, it is very affordable as well. It's not like,
You can have it like once every 3 months, and then everyone can have a beer,
yeah.
bare feet on the grass, raw. You know, and then you just chuck in lawn bowls.
If we reserve enough lanes, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure the music policy we can control that.
Ooh.
Funnily enough, Brett and I were thinking about doing bowling. So we used to bowl
We used to-
league
yeah.
at Magrat,
Dork.
and
Come on, man.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah, man.
No, it's cool. It's really cool.
I was gonna say, you can turn off the lights, you can book it out, you can play the hard style, you get the lights like, you know, the nice, you know, rave lights going. It'd be a vibe.
Shokk
Man,
Productions.
Next thing you know,
above.
we're gonna be like, now we've got to bring lasers in.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's just not gonna
Slowly
end.
turning
It's
into
gonna
hardstyle.
turn into a raven.
Yeah.
Then, you know, so.
Plus, we know that a couple of members on the team all have their own bowling balls.
As well, yeah. A few other people. Danny also used to play bowling with Matty
Doxing him,
Dang
bro.
and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
Maddie and
Yeah.
Justin, they all
Yeah.
have their own
They
bowling
used
balls,
to-
so
they
it wouldn't
used-
be hard to get off the ground.
I think the purpose of this though is to segregate the hardstyle between the community.
Yeah.
The common interest is hardstyle, but we want to outline that other people really enjoy other things in their life and they have other hobbies, and maybe there's a common interest in that as well. Or trying to share people's stories. Whenever I go to your events, I love it when people come up to me and they're like, I love watching your videos and it actually helped me do this and I'm really taking charge and doing this. And I think that's where again the community needed more of this in order for people to kind of like step up and stand out a little bit more and do something different and show that they are different, that they have a life, and that I'm not just the party goer that you guys all think I am. You know, yeah.
I think it's important to do stuff like this as well, because I think to myself, like, man, when I'm at events, it's impossible for me to socialize, because usually when you find me walking from one place to another, it's because I need to get there.
Yeah.
And half the time it's, you don't want to be rude. You say hi to everyone, you have chats with everyone. And it's, for me, I don't find my events are the most appropriate place for me to talk to people. And that's why I'm all about doing these activities outside of it, because I'll get to have a chat with people properly, And it won't just be like Andy, the event organizer, you're talking to. It's just
Exactly.
Andy.
It's
You're
just
talking
Andy.
to.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
I think you mentioned last time that you miss being like one of the punters, like being one at in the crowd, And has that can you still capture that magic? You reckon? Like one day, God forbid, you take a day off for one of your events, and you just join the crowd. Or is that like?
I did that for Midnight Mafia.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
we
man.
weren't there, man. Come
Oh,
on, bro.
I was a punter again. Yeah, man.
How did it feel?
Was
Yeah.
that, was
It
that
was
magical?
great. Yeah, it was honestly so much fun. Like,
Do you ever critique the lasers? You're like, I probably would have done that better. I probably would have put that laser a little bit to the left.
I have to admit, like, I was completely blown away by the production there, and you can't really critique. Like, from my perspective, I couldn't critique it, because my last memory of Midnight Mafia was, I can't remember what it was, but just seeing all the elements they introduced, because I know how they've conceived it and how much effort is required to do it. It's just mind blowing that they were able to do the things they did.
That's cool.
But it was great. Like, I was dancing to all of Radical Redemption set, which, if you guys know me, it's probably something you wouldn't expect me to do.
We were watching his live stream and he just does a bicep pump every now and then. Yeah, he flexes. Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was just a great night all around. So, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I guess that was the one event for me that, I want to be a punter for, and I did that.
Could you ever do it for a Shokk event? Or no, you're just too invested, like...
Probably not, man. It's...
The stakes are higher.
I just see the things that I do at these events, and I'm just like, if I'm not doing this, then it's just hard. When you have split responsibilities, you got one ear doing one things, you got me doing other things. It's really hard for one person to do both of that.
Yep.
And I don't know, because I guess why we can do our events is, I've had to gain knowledge in so many different aspects of the events, because if I'm hiring someone to do all that, then, it would drive the cost so much higher.
Yes, exactly.
The reason why I'm so involved with the lasers, because if you had to hire that yourself,
Yes.
The reason why we bought our own lasers and production gear, amongst many things. So it's just been good to learn about these things. I never thought I'd be this knowledgeable about it, but there's still so much to learn. When you go to a HSU event and try to dissect what they've done, you keep saying to yourself, oh man, one of these days I want to be able to do that.
I want the fireworks, the rocket fireworks.
Oh yeah. You see those things, and like I keep saying to myself, I would love to see this in Brisbane.
Yes.
It's funny you mentioned that, because Peter, Ty, and I, we work in events and we do some rigging sometimes, and we were saying a joke, like we were at Knockout last year and we were looking at the main stage and we were like, how would you rig that? How would you rig those lasers up there? Like, would you, what kind of eyelets would you kind of use to? It's funny, but yeah, it's just interesting. Like,
You got scissor lifts and cranes.
Do you ever get inspired when you go to HSU event? Like, what's the some elements you could pull from this event, kind of inspire you and kind of motivate you? Maybe we could pull these to our events.
I've taken a lot of.
There's fire
every
by
time
the.
every time I go to HSU, I learn so much.
Mm-hmm.
From event planning perspective, production perspective. I have been, lucky enough to, go to a Midnight Mafia and Knockout as well the first time, and just kind of be there a few days beforehand, see how things are. You see how the production team builds the event. You see how Rob kind of manages every other aspect of the event. You see how the safety aspects are done as well. So all those things I've seen at a larger level, I do bring it back here. I tried to apply that as best as possible here. You know, some people could say we overdo it sometimes, but I think you might as well have that work ethic, so that way when you go do bigger things, it's already there.
I agree with that, and wholeheartedly, yeah. So yeah, and you used to be a bit of a shuffler, hey, back in the day. So we had a recent experience. You went there, but I was there. Yeah. One person from the community actually organized a shuffle meetup, a shuffle gathering.
Yeah.
The only issue is we didn't have many shufflers, but we had a lot of people trying to shuffle. So I think we need somebody more experienced to come back.
Sensei to come back and
Yeah.
teach
Yeah,
the
why not?
peasants how to shuffle.
Would you-
Let's do it. I'd be absolutely keen for this.
Do you still remember how to do it? I've been trying to practice. It looks
still
so
have
sloppy.
fat pants?
Man, no, I feel like, I don't know, like, I just feel like the shuffle, I was explaining this
Yeah.
to my friends the other day about shuffling nowadays versus back then. Back then, like, music was slower, you know, so nowadays, like, people are shuffling to like 155, 160 BPM, or some crazy people doing the 180, 200. It's
Yeah.
insane. Like, it's beyond a workout if you're shuffling.
Yeah.
You know?
Zumba, but it's shuffling.
You're burning like 3,000 calories shuffling in one night, dude. You know those runners who have like those like gels to keep them like carb, like your height, you know? You have one of those when you're shuffling in your fat pants.
That's not a bad idea.
Actually, are we
We
like
carry a camel
wait.
back with the water.
hypothetically if we go to like a 3-day rave event, can we just bring like those gels just to keep us hydrated and stuff? That's a good
That
idea.
is a good idea.
Wait.
I'll bring them to my hikes, you know.
Oh,
They're
really?
great.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
fantastic.
perfect, dude. Bring it to Knockout this year.
Okay, we're going on a hike soon. We're preparing for DEF CON.
Yeah.
Everything's happening.
Lawn
hey.
bowls too. Don't
Lawn
forget
bowls. I'm ready. That sounds like strenuous exercise.
The good thing about lawn bowls is anyone and everyone can do it. You know, it's the
Yes.
tiniest amount of effort for such a great return. You know,
Yeah.
everyone has fun, and like when you lose or win, just do it again. You keep going back and forth. It's great. You know?
And
that.
bowling's
And then
not
you put
accepted.
money on the line later on, and it gets very heated. I won't say that.
Shokk
10
13. We just play cards.
In Market Square, the red tables,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
shuffling cards.
All right, I'm gonna throw a span in the works here, and I don't know how you might feel about this one, but so it's a bit controversial. But we all have a different opinion. Or I don't know about you guys, but I've thought about it a little bit. Like, so we were doing some hot takes at Shokk, and there was a few people that had mentioned that Shokk wouldn't really be able to kind of keep themselves together if there wasn't a HSU. How do you feel about that? No, this one, that's what I mean. Don't get too angry. It's cold.
I'm trying to dissect
That's the
that question.
drywall scene.
Yeah, so they were saying because when HSU has acts, obviously we get acts in accordance with that. But you know, there's a whole business aspect to this as well that obviously the normal consumer wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
So
well,
yeah,
I think when you think about it, we only get, you know, how many times do we do a side show with HSU? Once, twice, maybe 3 times a year.
exactly right.
What about all the other months? You know.
Yes.
So, I think how you've got to see it is HSU are one of many people we work with to provide acts here. I mean, it's great to work with Australia's biggest promoter, so that way we can reap the benefits of being able to do acts here.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I think it's a good thing, and no doubt it contributes to our success and to why the scene can, you know, get these acts. But I wouldn't say we're completely reliant on it because, you know, I think we've had to gain the recognition to be able to work with HSU as well.
Agreed.
So, you know, it may seem like it's all nice and easy, but the journey to get there and the journey to remain working with them, that's always an ongoing battle. You know?
Yeah, and I kind of want you to depict that because yeah, as I said, like even for us, if people were to look at us as a group or a content creator, they will see the content that we put out and they would just assume that it's meant to be at this level or however such, correct? But it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of communication, it takes a lot of you know, like education as well, like the amount of stuff that we have no clue about, and we're trying to produce something that everyone would like to watch. We're having to kind of combine it into one and then come up with the best that we can and then continuously improve on that, right? So as a consumer, they will have a lot to say. And by the way, this was only like one person, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah.
I'm happy to answer all types
Yeah.
of questions, and I think on that day I really had to bring someone back to earth, you know, because he was telling me all these ideas on how he thinks, you know, Shokk
should be run, yeah.
should do events,
Yeah.
and you know, this person was suggesting, oh, you should do this act and this act. I'm like, one, I've never heard of that act before, and two, what makes you think that we'd be able to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And his solution to, you know, for us doing better was to take on all these small acts. And my response back to him was, how about this? Why don't we just do no events instead?
Sorry. You got him good. You got him good. Yeah.
Like that was, you know, I had to really, discuss that. I didn't get offended and whatnot. I think, like, being in this position, you have to, you know, hear some hard words from people. You know?
Exactly,
like, I think being able to handle those situations is what makes me a better person. You know?
Yes. I agree with that, and that's why I kind of want to introduce it. They actually told me not to do it, but I was really thinking about it. I slept tired, like no sleep actually, just lying in bed. I'm like, oh, would he be mad? But like, you know, I think he has a good explanation, and I'm like, yeah, but I think it's important for you to be able to show people like the amount of effort and the amount of communication, and even to, as you said, have like between us, like Shokk and Project Gax. If I wasn't the person that I was and reached out to you or talked to you or, you know, kind of presented myself a certain way, you would never kind of attach to that and think that this person's worth giving the opportunity to, correct? That could be the same for Shokk. Or like, and on top of that, like a lot of DJs that do come to Australia only come for a selected period of time. So the chances of you getting them on the off chance and like just only coming to Australia specifically for your event is obviously very expensive, first of all, and second of all is quite rare because they usually tour around Europe majority of the time. Isn't that correct? Yeah.
Well, firstly, Brandon, you can sleep at night now.
Thank God, man. Thank God. It was my eye bags are starting to show, man.
Secondly, I think, you know, with acts, like everything is just getting more expensive. It's not just their fees that have gone up, but it's just more like just flights these days, and accommodations, visas are more expensive these days as well. And I think, like, you know, getting a good act for under 5 figures these days is impossible.
Oh shit.
Let's just put it that way. You know, back in the days, you could. That's what made events so cheap back then. You know, because we would, like, the fees we would pay for acts, it was so much lower than what it was, and you could do $30 tickets, $40 tickets. You know, and like, I've always been that person to reflect these savings on, like, if I really wanted to be profitable on this, you know, I would be doing something else, not events.
Exactly right.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And
This is
you know,
passion,
it's quite upsetting to me that we have to charge, you know, 70, 80, 90. And I'm so glad with Future Noise, you know, we're able to charge cheaper. You know, had we have done that elsewhere, it would have been the same story again, you know.
Exactly
and that's a question I keep asking myself. If we had the 70, 80, 90 structure, would we have had that same turnout?
Probably. No.
You know,
Yeah.
We had a lot of challenges. Well, I thought we were going to have a lot of challenges with that event because I didn't know Knockout was going to be announced on the week of our event, you know, and all the attention was on Knockout.
On Knockout,
Yes.
sorry, yeah.
But thankfully, Future Noise was still popping off in the background.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what kind of baffles me because I thought we were going to struggle, but here we are. We're up every day. We're selling more and more tickets. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
This is great.
I was a bit lazy. I'm sorry. As a like a fellow person trying to promote for Shokk as well, I was in Bali and I was like, fuck, I gotta make some Future Noise content. Gotta post some things out there. And then Eileen's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, why, Eileen? She's like, look, every time I look on Instagram, they've reached another threshold. It's like 75%, 85%, and then on the day I was gonna make stuff, they're like, it's sold out. It's like,
I have to tell you something. Like, you know, this is where Brisbane is really good at. You know, you can't fool people with that kind of shit. You can't be like, I'm gonna post 75% out when I've only sold 10 tickets.
Exactly.
Like, you can't fool people like that. I think, you know, and that's what I've seen. Like, I have to admit, at the beginning of Shokk, you know, we tried to take that approach, but I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
Never again. Yeah.
So whenever you see like a sellout warning from us, we are not shitting you. It's completely, you know, factual. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to be burnt by saying, oh, 90% sold out, and you get there, clubs or the place is only half full.
10 people there.
Everyone got sick. It was COVID. Yeah.
I know. Well, I was just curious. So I guess in terms of local artists and, like, say, people from interstate, what sort of thresholds are you expecting them to meet before you'd consider doing a show for them? For the guys that are aspiring, you know, up and coming, and you know, the guys like say Colin, which are, you know, slowly becoming more and more mainstream. Like, what sort of threshold do you think they need to overcome for you to be like, hey, these guys might actually be worth having in Brisbane, in Queensland, where we can both benefit?
Man, you guys must have been hearing the conversations I was having the other day because
Oh, sorry, I left this here.
Microphone from his jacket.
I won't say who it is, but a promoter reached out to me the other day, and we're having very positive discussions on exactly that question. You know, like they were telling me about, you know, all these aspiring artists in their respective state, and I'm like, you know, and they were asking me like, what's it gonna take, you know, for one of these guys gonna play, and he was trying to convince me on why, and I'm like, okay, you got me listening. And I think at the moment, you know, it's for anyone to succeed, for all these new names to pop up, sometimes it take that element of luck. I think this time there was that element of luck, because had I not had that conversation, I probably wouldn't consider these artists, because I would have never known about them.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think if the right people have these conversations to the right people,
Yes.
then I think that can help raise awareness on that fact. Like, I know when we booked Colin, it wasn't because I wanted to at first. I remember when I was first made aware of him, I was like, who the hell is this guy? And then
He just
next
likes
thing you
shoeies.
know, we booked him, and I'm eating my own words.
Yeah.
You know, I just like it, and that's kind of what's changed my perspective. I've been more open towards these kind of things, because like I like when I get proven wrong in this respect. I'm not gonna, you know, be stubborn about it. And if I do get proven wrong, I try to learn from it. And that's why, you know, I'm talking to more and more people to try and understand what people like. I think that question these days is something I'm asking myself more than anything, you know, because we're seeing such a big shift in what people like, especially when it comes to hardstyle, you know. Like, if I'm being honest, going to Midnight Mafia, that was the first night in Australia that I've been to where it was pretty much raw from start to the end.
Yeah. It's great. No, it is crazy. And we've been talking about this a lot. And we just obviously saw the knockout announcement, and we saw your name, and we were like, yeah, we want to go. And then we saw the rest of the lineup, and we were like, oh, we might want to stay away from that, just because we're not extremely familiar with it ourselves on top of that. And then the people that we do know obviously cater towards that raw side of it. So the appeal for, I wouldn't say a veteran, but, you know, people who've been going for a long time, have got into that euphoric kind of music, have gotten, like, even that middle ground between raw and euphoric, we've gotten so used to that this is just too much now. We gotten used to the structure where we start off nice and easy, we build up into it, we got the, you know, the big headlines, and then we finish off with some fucking crazy shit, and then by then we're kind of hyped for it. But when you're hearing it for that long, you're like, oh Jesus, like, yeah, I might want to start moving out of here, I might need to take a break, you know, all these kind of things kind of come into your head, and hence why we've kind of passed on that. So we definitely see where you're coming from with that kind of.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out, man, honestly, because
you can't make an event full raw.
Well, what I see happen in Sydney, if it was that easy and if it was that similar, then somebody else would have done it. You know?
Yes.
But then when you try and do the exact same thing here, it doesn't work. You know, that's why you don't have every interstate promoter trying to do something here, because they know whatever works for them down there ain't going to be the same.
Same here, yeah.
So it's a, you know, I think Brisbane's unique in the way we like our music. There's so much diversity, but I think in the end, what people deep down, what they like and what they don't need to be vocal about is just listening to some nice melodies. Yeah, some hard kicks are good behind it, you know, but I think at the end of the day, people love to sing along. People love familiarity. You know?
Easy listening, hard.
We're a very chanty state, you know, when it comes to footy, when it comes to like songs and stuff, and everyone loves a bit of a chant, you know, like when you get to sing along to a song, it feels great.
Well, how would you rate
Sydney dogs? Fuck yeah! King, king, king. I'm just kidding. I'm playing. Sorry, please
It's crazy
invite me.
though, because a lot of people are complaining that people aren't chanting, but how can you chant? It's like impossible. It's physically impossible.
When it's just raw and there's no melody.
There's a endless cycle. I think when I first started listening to raw, it was like okay, and I was kind of into it, and then it just died off. Like the whole spark behind it died off. I was like, okay, well, everyone's doing it now. Everyone's kind of got the same kicks. It's just
It's like a teenage phase. You'll grow over it. You'll come back to like classic or euphoric, and then it's a phase, man.
And that's the thing. Like, how long is that phase? If it is a phase, how long is it gonna last? You know, and that's the thing. I'm still trying to understand what people like here, because I tell you what, I've been proven wrong so many times, especially for Future Noise. I still thought, even though we got the date changed, I still thought it was gonna flop.
Yeah.
But then here we are. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you like, Andy? Are you more euphoric? Are you more classic? Are you more melodic or gang?
He actually likes hip hop rap.
Are you more? Oh shit! Oh yeah, no mind.
I do.
Would you host Neo?
Oh man, I would.
Neo Shokk. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it.
I would have loved to attend that concert, by the way.
Oh, me too. Oh.
But look, what do I like right now? I think how I've always been with hardstyle is whatever trends have happened, I've always been with it. You know, I've never been the kind of guy that rejects any change with hardstyle. You know, like, and we've seen hardstyle change so much over the years, but I think right now I'm at that point where I'm at crossroads with where hardstyle's going, and I don't, and this is challenging for me because I don't want to be negative about it.
No.
And I don't want to spread, you know, I don't want to be spreading my thoughts to everyone at the same time as well. And I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, let's say if this so-called raw track is big and all these people like it, I want to understand why. So I keep listening to it, you know, and then, you know, but I think for the first time ever, I'm struggling a bit to understand what's going on with hardstyle right now.
Andy's in his car and his ears bleeding. He's like, "What the fuck is this?"
And this is the thing. I can't say I hate raw, but then it's hard to say that I really like it at the same time. I don't hate, but I don't like.
Yeah, I know. I completely understand where you're coming from, and that's where, like, this is just purely thoughts, just kind of getting where you're at with this, because, you know, like, to us, you are the hardstyle guy. You know, you've always been the hardstyle guy, so we feel a certain way, so we're like, oh fuck, like, does everyone feel like this, or like, are we out of the loop too, or are we kind of like falling out of hardstyle? Should we go back to clubbing?
Are we getting old?
Yeah.
Are we getting old? Do the Zag kicks and the PVC kicks, are they too much for us now? Are we
Putting
getting
shit
too
from
old?
Minecraft in there now.
Yeah, just getting sick with the microwave noises.
My brain's fried, dude.
It's crazy to see how much has evolved there. And I think now with TikTok as well, like, people are creating all sorts of content that kind of complements this music.
Yes.
You know? And
Definitely not shuffling videos. So what's coming up for Shokk? What do you kind of have planned? Are you going to go back to posting on hard EDM? I saw you dibble dabbling with TikTok here and there. You know, I've seen Laura kind of getting on the grind as well.
I love your behind the scenes on, like, the venues and how you guys set up. I think it's a great insight on people, like, the amount of effort it takes, even just for like a local event like Shokk, like Future Noise, the amount of effort it takes, the amount of people it takes to set up lights, the flamethrowers, like, it's crazy, and it's a great insight, and I really appreciate the fact that you take your time to, even like the ones in Adelaide, you do the, like, little behind the scenes. It shows all the effort and passion you have for the industry.
I tell you what, it was a lot easier to film and do those things at that point in time. But once it kind of hit March, like, my motivation to film stuff and to do these TikTok videos took a massive dive because of how much events was stressing me out, you know. And that's why I kind of was so quiet for a period. Like, I didn't even post anything about Ruler, and we sold that party out
huge,
as well.
yeah,
like.
as well.
And, you know, and the saddest thing about that event is I woke up the next day, I didn't feel any better about myself, even though we sold out. Like, I didn't wake up feeling super happy, and I'm just like... But honestly, after Future Noise, I think that's what's kind of...
Tipped the tides.
Yeah, tipped everything around. But right now, I'm trying to maintain this emotion, this momentum, you know? And I think what's next for Shokk is we're definitely doing something in Halloween. But... even though we're taking a break, I'm not going to rule anything out because I don't know if an opportunity is going to come our way. I have made that point to everyone around Australia that if anything does pop up and it's of interest to us, then
we'll be capitalizing.
I would absolutely consider just doing one more event from now until Halloween.
Yeah. You've kept that space open.
Yeah.
And I think throughout that meantime, like, all agreed, everybody has said, we're just going to continue to build that community nice and strong. And we can't stress enough to you, like, as much as a break can be daunting, as an event organizer, because this is what you do. This is what you've known for a very long time. I think this is probably the best time to be taking a break, because everybody's, as you said, being smart, being wise with their money, and with the reputation that you guys have, like when people hear that there's a Shokk event, everybody's talking about should we go or not? Can we make the time to go? What are we doing? You know, how much does it cost, or whatever it is? You know, yeah.
Can we scrape by enough pennies in the from the coin jar?
I'm gonna
get
sell my
through.
Lambo real
Yeah,
quick.
dude.
We're heading to Shokk. But yeah, like I think we can't stress enough. Don't worry too much about people not getting back into the scene, because the scene's continuously growing. Like Project Hardstyle still running their stuff. You got people in Sydney running massive, and MCD obviously taking charge there. Melbourne's got their own thing going on. So once Shokk comes back into play, like maybe there's a way we can kind of bridge that gap between interstate for people to come to us for once, or you know, like the Brisbane scene, after not having Shokk for however long it is, we'll, as soon as we hear the name come back out, we'll be like, oh, get your tickets now, like this is the time. So yeah, like just stay as cool, calm, collected as you can, and do what you got to do, man.
No, definitely, and that's exactly what I'll be doing. You know, that's why like coming here tonight feels so much different. You know, I don't feel like I've got a lot of weight on my shoulders anymore.
You're glowing. Are you pregnant?
Oh,
Yeah,
don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
But it's just good to just kind of have a clear mind. After Future Noise, I did feel good about that, you know, and I'm like, this feeling, it's been lost for so long, and finally it's back. But and yeah, that's the most challenging thing about events, you know, trying to keep yourself motivated.
What is that feeling? Is it success? Is it feel good? You're on a serotonin high, or victory? Yeah. Or like, is it of a satisfaction? Like, yes, I've done good by the community. I've done good by myself, by the staff.
Kind of a bit of everything. I think first and foremost, it has to be the crowd. You know, I think when you see people dancing, people's hands in the air, and people chanting, like honestly, the chanting that night was just incredible.
Oh, it was awesome, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and those moments, you know, like you don't realize, like when I DJ and those moments happen, you know, for a brief moment, you just feel invincible. You know?
Yes.
And
Well, you are to us.
but like it's, you know, the venue was super happy with that event, and like everything just was right that night. There was a lot of challenges, but that's just what happens with every event. But in the end, it was all worth it.
I always thought that Mr. Brightside might be a great venue, because people are walking by the street and they're like, "Oh, this sounds lit. I want to go to this." Because it's like a you know, it's an open space, right? Because in my mind, like, bro, this is a great venue to have, like, you know, like euphoric hardstyle or whatever. It's something good for the newcomers. So people on the street, they're like, after going to proes or whatnot, they come over and they're like, this shit sounds good as. I still want to keep going. Let's go in this place, you know? Did you ever get, like, some people come from the street?
Yeah, there were a few people that poked their head in and was like, "What's this?"
Yeah.
Especially when you see flames as well, like that.
It's hot.
Flames are so hot, man.
so
You
hot.
burned my eyebrows. Dude. I don't know what you did, dude. But
Well, that's why it's good. It's good that we're, you know, like doing it in winter, because it was a bit colder that night. I don't think we could do something like that in summer. I think it'd be too
please
dangerous.
don't. Please don't. Please don't.
I mean, we could do the venue, but probably not flames like
Not
that.
pyro,
you know?
yeah.
Like if we did have an opportunity to do one more event, I would probably do Brightside again, because, you know, they were fantastic to work with, and it's a lot more. It's economically beneficial to do it with them, because at least we could do cheaper ticket prices for everyone as well, and we get 2 rooms as well. Like, I think that having that indoor area last time was just amazing, because, you know, we had a couple of debutantes, and those 2 opening sets, I was just like, my God, you got more people than outside, you know?
Yeah, the indoor, like, I guess boiler room you would call it. That was great. I walked in. It's like a bit of a pit.
Yeah.
And then they raise up the DJ by a couple meters. It's great. You know, it's a nice little room. It's very.
I wanted a true boiler room style though. I actually wanted the DJ booth right in the middle, but the venue were like, no, you can't do that, and like, because we wouldn't have been able to have people on stage for safety reasons, and even if we could do it, like, it would have reduced our total capacity.
Yeah.
And that would have meant like complete shoulder to shoulder everywhere. And we were very careful about that with the last Brightside event. You know, we could have sold extra tickets just for the sake of it, but like, I think, you know, we need a dance, and if you're crammed shoulder to shoulder all night, it's not like, it's great for us, but I know for the people it's not. So
Yeah, when he gets sweaty, it's pretty bad.
Hey,
Yeah.
come on! I put cologne, I put deodorant. I'm like, it's not like a house event where everyone's just doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
Everyone's hacking on buzzing. You need space. You need at least like 2x2.
Gotta do the-
square foot.
Clear the floor.
Clear the floor, and then you just see Felix's thumb jump in,
Yeah, yeah.
shuffle. Felix is good at
He's-
shuffle.
Felix
Yeah.
Shuffle?
Yeah,
Me?
yeah. Have you seen him?
I have.
It's fucking
And
delicious.
It's great. Apparently he's not the best though. Apparently there's better people.
Oh really?
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
You know,
okay. Well,
actually,
go on.
I should tell you about the story. You know, I actually had more fun when I was in Sydney, right? Actually, I was a punter again on the Sunday at the HSU Boiler Room party.
Oh, the after event?
And
Oh.
you know, I actually just wanted to pop in, say hello, and then leave. And this is what happened. We go there, go to the bar. We buy a round of non-alcoholic beverages because you know we're only coming in and out.
Accidentally
And
alcohol.
like, I tell you what, that night had 300 of Australia's most dedicated people because like when I walked in, Future Noise and Beefront were playing and they weren't even announced. And
Yeah.
I went to the back and then I started filming and next thing you know, I'm just like into it. You know, like this whole crowd has woken me up. They've got me in the vibe, and I'm just like. I'm staying. We're all staying. We stayed all night with, we had no intentions of
Yeah.
doing that.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
I think those smaller events like are actually quite good. We reminisce. Oh no, sorry, not we. I reminisce a time I went to HSU Halloween.
Okay.
Every single time I tell the boys, sick and tired of hearing it.
Okay.
But that time with Rebellion, it was in Newmarket or something like that. I can't remember exactly where. Newtown in Sydney. That small little theater. Yeah, we had. Enmore Theatre, yes. Yeah, it was, yeah. And, like, people were jumping and hacking, the ground was shaking. Apparently, previously, they had the floor cave in once upon a time. Yeah, it was crazy. And I was standing there, I was like, fuck. I was like, damn, this is pretty crazy. And, like, one of the best events I've ever been to in my life. And Shokk, obviously, kind of has that feel to it and that vibe. But if we even condense that a bit smaller, I know the capacity will be much smaller and it's much harder. Yeah, I think that's the problem with that, is obviously getting enough people to feel comfortable and safe. But yeah, those events, they slap, and you experienced it firsthand. Yeah.
Of course, and not gonna lie, it's kind of what's on my mind at the moment. I would love to host smaller events again, but once again, what I said to you at the beginning,
Yes.
I want the people to drive this decision.
Yeah.
I'm half convinced doing it. I've got some ideas that if everyone convinced me that it's a go, then
Yeah.
it will be organized so
It's a
fast,
go.
It's a go. Yeah.
It's a
We-
go.
You got an
1, 2,
approval. Yeah.
3, come on, man, it's a go.
Yeah.
We got it.
Because that HSU Boiler Room party just made me realize, like, if we could get something similar there, like, I think we'd be able to. I'm not going to say compete, but I think we'd be able to host a similar party.
I'm telling you, maybe less overheads because it's a smaller area. You only need like 1 or 2 DJs because not everyone's going to be there for like 4 or 5 hours, and we don't get too sweaty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Idea. You want a smaller venue, smaller area? Burnett Lane, Queen Street. Boom. You got that. Next to Macca's on that little lane. Dude, you got food upstairs. You got the BWS down the road.
Korean fried chicken.
You can have Korean fried chicken. You can have a cigarette in the Burnett Lane. I'm telling you.
Where Funny is?
Yes.
That's Korean fried chicken.
Alright, it's free because it's public space. Dude, I'm telling you.
You can actually get fined for that. Like,
Fuck.
Brisbane City
Never
Council have powers to fine you if you try to pull a stunt like that. And
Really? There's that guy on TikTok you might have not seen, but he brings a pram onto the trains after the events of like HSU events, and he's actually got DJ decks and speakers and everything, and he plays it on the train.
That's insane. Whoever's doing that, man, it's incredible because it's the ultimate G up for the people attending the event. Because I can tell you, the worst experience for me for Midnight Mafia, I swear, was the freaking Uber ride there.
Dude, everyone's crammed up on that one street to get out of there.
Exactly, but our Uber driver was a hero that day. You know what he did? He didn't line up behind everyone. He did like something heroic. He went right to the front of the line, just cut right in, and we're like, my man.
He knows the
knows
priorities.
Yeah,
knows what's
but
up.
that's what the whole drive there was terrible because everyone's sobered up by then, and like, and it's just depressing because we're just like, yeah, it's just quiet.
Yeah, he's
But-
got elevator music playing.
But that DJ, if he's doing that now, Uber
Yeah.
car ride, be a different story.
Exactly. Yeah, it becomes such a different vibe. It's good. It's so good. I think you had a question as well about something a bit more serious again. Sorry.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a little bit more controversial.
We're throwing a lot of these now.
Alright.
I already
Something
did one.
that I had noticed at Future Noise compared to any other Shokk event, for whatever reason, I saw that a lot of people at this event for Future Noise were under the influence, and not just of alcohol but other substances.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what your what your thoughts were, what your stance was on that, because I know that as Shokk and with the community, we always want to preach healthy behaviors.
Healthy behavior. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just not putting yourself at risk.
We'll be the first
Absolutely.
to say like, oh, we don't want any of that. Like, we never condone any of that. First of all, first and foremost, like, yeah, we never encourage anybody to go there and do those kind of things. Like, we're, as veteran people who have gone to raves for a long time, we go there for the enjoyment of the music. We posted a lot of videos on TikTok about it now. A lot of influencers have backed us up on this, saying like, they're zombies, even at HSU. Zombies, no energy, no vibe, and we want to bring back the culture. Go for the hardstyle, go for the DJs, go for the community, go to be with your friends and, play or whatever it is, dance, sing, chant, kick roll, whatever it is, that's the vibe's different. So what's your perspective as an organizer? I think it's a bit different, yeah.
I mean, we always have to preach safety, and we always will, because that is the most important thing when it comes to organizing events. You want to ensure the safety of everyone. And this is the biggest challenge as a promoter, because you could tick every box, that everyone, wants to throw at you. You can be as compliant as possible, but then when something happens, the saddest thing is the finger's going to be pointed at you right away.
Exactly.
So, even if it was proven that it had nothing to do with us, it's still always going to be portrayed that way. And that's the most unfair thing about being a promoter. You just cop that shit whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
And I guess from what I can see, it's I think this generation right now, I think they all just love to party more than our generations, and
So we are old.
and I think I used to
fucking
think
old,
I
bro.
used to think my generation was full of degenerates, but I
Yeah.
think we're starting to see more people outdo us. Not to say that in a bad way,
No.
but it's just challenging, because you want to do something about at the same time people are going to make this choice. Then what's it going to take for officials to see it the same way as well? Because even if you force people not to do it, they'll be like, okay, and then you turn away, they've done it.
They've
It's
done
just
it, exactly right.
And what, am
yeah.
I to blame for it? I told them not to do it, and they've still done it.
Exactly right.
And I don't know if that's ever going to change, because one thing you have to realize is the promoter will always get the blame for this kind of thing, no matter how much of a safe environment you do. And I've had this in the past, where one person gets hit by another person, I get blamed for it right away. I'm just like, oh man, it's just the shit you got to deal with with events, And
I'm gonna punch Will and then blame it on you.
yeah, and that's
You get the fine.
I couldn't hold my fist back.
yes, some of the things that people put me through, I just shake my head, and you have to have a thick skin with events, man.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the main reason why I don't want to air my dirty laundry online, because
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but yeah, I think it needs to be said. I think as an organizer, and I kind of wish that HSU kind of came out to this as well. The amount of times that we have seen, this is no shots, nothing, no hate. We still appreciate you guys, but we will see it on the news first. The people would broadcast it before we even start really knowing. We wait for the news the next day to see if something had happened, correct? No one really, not that you are meant to step forth, but maybe there's a way to engage with the people in order to kind of, once again, build that community, stoop back down, or come back down to our level, ground level, and relate to us in a certain way, or your community.
I think what the media will never tell you about these events is the success stories and the measures that are in place, especially at HSU events. I think there's a reason why our safety measures are where they are. It's because we've taken inspiration with how HSU do it. I've seen it with my own eyes, how they do it.
It's gotten
but
better.
Then it gets to a point, once again, it's just like it's a shame that the actions of a few people gets blown out of proportion, like I think the last event there was actually no
None.
drug arrest,
Yeah.
but yet,
No one covers it.
No one covers
No
it.
one
but
covers
You don't
then
hear that.
no one ever talks about how happy the stakeholders behind the venue and everything else were with HSU. You're never going to see that as a news article.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
once
right,
again, I
yeah.
think from their perspective, they're just like, what's the point of trying to defend yourself against these people?
Gotcha.
you know?
Yeah. That's a good point. I definitely agree with that. And if you were to look at it realistically, like over the last few years that we've been raving, it's progressively minimized every single time, and they've put more things in place in order to avoid that. So yeah.
Which event do you go to where you see warning signs to take it easy? I don't think I've ever been to an event that has really enforced that
No.
before.
Never.
That's a good
ever.
point. Even like in the the decals behind the DJ, it'll always say like safety measures, like every like 10 to 15 minutes, and
Yeah. On Instagram the day before,
you
even
can
a
only
week
do so
before.
much, and it's up to the
Yeah.
people whether they want to do it or not.
Dude, they give pallets of water away at every single one of those events. Like you will see like crowd barriers and like sectioned off throughout the whole event, and in between those barriers, guards will stand there, and there will be like water everywhere, because if someone is feeling a bit under the weather or having too much
Exactly.
fun, at
Yep.
least that bottle of water's there to kind of hydrate them and
Yes.
whatnot. So there's a lot of little things that go into place that just doesn't get recognized. And once again, it's just how it is when it
Yeah.
comes to doing events.
That's kind of the bullet you have to bite. Hey.
You do.
You reckon it's like a obviously you can, as a promoter and as an event organizer, you can only do so much. Like you can always have these measures in place and this and that. You reckon it's more of a community change? Like as a community, we have to be like, we have to look out for each other. We have to say, hey, enough's enough. You've had your fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like you go to your mate, like, I think you've had too much tonight. I think you should dial down the next event. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's moving forward when we have a lot of these people who might put themselves in a dangerous position. I think it's up to us as a community, as punters, to be like, look out for each other and say, hey, maybe enough's enough.
It absolutely takes influential people, and I think that's why in Brisbane, I think we have an opportunity to try and do things differently. Whereas when you look at Sydney or Melbourne, like the population that they have there and the amount of people they deal with, it's not on the levels that we deal with. If we had to suddenly wake up one day and go from what we have today to those kind of numbers, it's going to be so challenging. And I guarantee you, all these things we're talking about now is probably going to be a discussion point of that future Shokk event as well,
Exactly
But
right. Yeah.
if we can somehow, achieve growth and be able to maintain that for a bit and then jump to the next level, I think that'll be a much better way for us to, to combat that and provide a better culture for these kind of things, But I think, yes, it is ultimately up to the people, man. I think it can't just be the promoter. The promoter needs to raise awareness, and the people need to get with it. If the people don't get with it, then how?
How do you? Yeah, you physically cannot control that. Yeah, I think one thing that I wanted to talk about just very quickly and subtly, because we're very open, I guess, with what we do, and like our experience with these things, and we've also been very open with that. We've kind of grown out of it, so we kind of understand like what our limits are with these things, and understanding, like looking after our friends at certain times when we start to see like red flags. Since you've been in the scene for quite a while, what was your experience, even like with the people around you, in terms of growing out of that? Is it just maturing, you reckon, or like do we start needing to tell everybody like, let's grow the fuck up? This is obviously not on. It's causing harm. Or like, should it be that abrupt, or do you really think that we should allow them? Oh, okay, I wouldn't say allow, but they have to make the mistake.
Absolutely. And I think people, from what I've seen, people do grow out of this. Some may take longer, but I can't tell you that I've seen someone from day one that's still partying this hard, and I'm still seeing them at Shokk events today.
I actually know one guy. My bad.
Honestly, when he said that, I was like, no, I know one guy. I know two guys actually.
Funny what his initials are too, hey?
Yeah.
Think about it.
But that's why we see so many people come and go with
Yeah.
hardstyle, Like, we
Yeah.
honestly see, like, if we didn't have new people coming in, then we wouldn't be able to fill the gaps with
No.
the amount of people who leave at the same time.
Exactly right. Yeah, and I think that's where the education comes through. That's where we play a part. For the younger audience or for the newcomers, I think the older people who have been there for a while, yeah, they're great out of it, but kind of getting them while they're young and showing them kind of like the guidance and the route will hopefully deter this from like happening ever again, or less frequently anyway.
Yeah, I think. Look, I think people are smart enough to realize like when shit really hits the fan, we all need to look after each other. But look, we've got Project GACT here to help raise awareness. You know, even if it's little by little.
Yeah.
You need to tell yourself you're achieving some progress. You know, and at one of these points, there might come a day where that influence is so much greater than what it was. You know, and that's kind of the day we all pray for, because it's like me when it comes to pushing hardstyle events. I'm always hoping there's going to be that one day it just explodes, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I think it really has for you guys. What's the expectation then for you, would you say?
Yeah. Do you have numbers? Like, let's say, like, 'cause obviously hardstyle is becoming more mainstream when it comes to, like, you know, the youth and like a lot of people, fresh 18s, that come to your events, right?
Yeah, man.
Is there numbers, like, you know, by the end of 2024, we want these kind of numbers? Or what's the expectation?
Oh, man. That you can't really ask yourself that question in how events are run these days, because the question I have to ask myself is, how the hell do I keep going? How do I survive this industry? You know? Like, because right now I feel like that's what this industry is about. It is about survival, because you know, there's only so much one can lose, you know, and
weathering out that storm.
It really is a long game, especially for a lot of promoters and a lot of club owners. You know, it's a long game trying to weather this storm. And you keep asking yourself, how long is it going to be?
Yeah.
You know, how much financial loss do you have to go through before you hit success? You know, that's kind of what the event industry is, especially in Brisbane, for as long as I can remember. But right now, it's the worst it's ever been for anyone who wants to start up an event. Like, it's gonna take some unique individuals. It needs like good hype. You know, like it just needs something so unique, like something like what Colin has done. You know, if someone's gonna have that sort of impact, they need to do it differently. You know, so like this is. I always say I wish I could, you know, there could be someone out there that just blows us all out of the water and does something so incredible, because I would like to talk to that person.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be jealous of them. I'd be saying to myself, hey man, that's awesome what you did.
Yeah.
Can I learn from you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's what we appreciate about you guys. But if you were to say, like, specifically, what is your envisionment of success for Shokk? Like, so like, we would always want to help you guys. And for yourself, I guess, in terms of goal setting, is it like we want to become a global brand? Do we want to be able to post something on TikTok and have heaps of people, you know, flock to us? Do we want to be able to... Yeah, do we want to sell out tickets in like seconds, or, you know, like, what's your, I guess, envisionment of that, and how can we produce that? This is a very tricky one. It's a thinker. Yeah,
because there's been occasions where we've, you know, like sold. I think our quickest sellout was, I'm trying to think, was it 48 hours or was it a week? I think the first hardstyle carnival we did, that was kind of eye opening for us, because we've never sold so many tickets to begin with, and then completely sell out in a week. You know, those, like, for that to happen in any event these days, you need to have someone who's headline worthy, who's really gonna pull a big crowd. And I think for hardstyle, like, there's only a few names right now that can do that, and for us to get an act at the right time like that, it's just very difficult, you know.
Do you think it is really reliant on the headliner itself, or do you think it could be a part of the event? Not that the event's bad, but if you can improve the event, so having that as the advertisement point, preferably over the headliner, right?
I did used to think of like that at some point. Yeah. You know, like before COVID and during COVID, but then after COVID finished, and then after this whole cost of living crisis, it's changed everything. It's changed the way I think, you know, like there used to be a point where I think our local events were doing better than our international events. Yeah. You know? Like there was a point where we could sustain local events, and right now it just doesn't feel like that. Gotcha. And that's why I think, you know, the people convincing us to do a smaller party, that's the only way it's going to happen, because it's too scary right now to do an event. The last thing we'd want is something to flop. I think that's just kind of something I don't want to do. I want to avoid that as much as possible. But In terms of what I would like to see in the future, is no doubt having some form of major event in a much bigger scale we haven't seen before. You know, like imagine doing like a 4 or 5,000 person show. That's like, you know, double Fortitude Music Hall, for example. I
Is
would.
that like a Brisbane showground kind of thing, or?
Well,
Ew,
there's,
no.
there's different
Showgrounds.
spaces, you know. I've tried. Yeah, we have inquired on a couple of like sports centers and whatnot.
Suncorp Stadium, baby. Let's go.
But
Taylor Swift.
once again, it's the cost, because if you're gonna do something like that, you know, you can't do a major event and just do locals.
No.
People won't spend that $150 for an event like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you need that headliner. You know, imagine having Sick Mode as your headliner or Darren Styles as that. People will be more inclined to come, and the fact that it's at a major venue,
Yeah.
it's more of an incentive to, you know, spend that money on it. You know, we qualify to become that special event that people are happy to spend money for.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the challenge is right now, because to make yourself special enough that people are going to spend money during these tough times.
Yeah. Where would you put yourself against some of the not competition, but some of the other event holders around Australia at the moment? Like, where would you position yourself? How do you think you can improve? Where do you need to go? Maybe someone that's doing it better than you can't, or you know, that you feel like is doing better than you or performing better. What are they doing better, and how can we grow from that?
Well, it's hard to say, because I don't really compare myself with the guys, because, you know, we all work together. We all share our success stories and bad stories together, and that's what the good thing about, you know, all the promoters I work with in Australia. Like, we're not scared to tell each other that we've had a bad event, you know, and we talk about it just to mainly see what's gone wrong, you know. So I think for us, the biggest difference is we're not Sydney, we're not Melbourne. And I think that itself plays a big part on why we don't have shows you see down there.
Well, we need the people from there to come to us more often, and that's why we're here. So we want people, even if it was just to come to see Project Gact at a rave. Like, I'd be more than happy to have that be a thing, and I think that's what we need, for people to just see. Like, even Adelaide, a lot of people might not go to Adelaide, or they might not go to Perth just because they just assume Melbourne and Sydney's the place to be. But those events are awesome, right? They hold really good production, they get really good acts, and the community is super great. So what do you think is maybe the defining factor for maybe just for Brisbane?
Look, success can be very deceptive as well, you know. And look, I know like I said, every state is struggling. Every promoter I know is having some struggles in their own parts, you know, whether it's the cost of everything or whether they're getting less numbers. It's happening to everyone, you know. I think the only entity that it's not happening to is probably HSU, you know. But
Screw
their
them.
product is just, it's on a different spectrum to what the next person is in Australia. Let's face it, you know, what they're doing in Australia is just, it's, you know, that's the benchmark. But in order to get there, it's just...
Yeah, that's a lot of grinding. That's a lot of...
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane. How long has HSU been at it for? Does anybody know?
A while.
How long's Shokk gone for? 10?
10?
I think they've gone... Yeah, we've gone roughly around the same time. I think they've gone a year longer, actually. Yeah. So...
Jeez.
We're 11 years now, and they're 12 years. I think.
Yeah. Holy fuck. Yeah, that's a long time, eh? Yeah. And then,
Brent, I just want to bump in. So we've talked about events and being, I guess, the business side of things. Let's rewind that back to, I guess, you as a person, right? Last time that we talked to you, you said you're a bit of a crossroads. You're like, can I say it, like on stream, like, oh, you guys got to convince me to keep going. You know, you said that to us, and I was like, yeah, we'll try our best. So how have you been, man? As not as hectic, but as Andy.
Yeah, really good, man. I think. Yeah, it's just after.
Come on, dude.
After Future Noise,
give us something, man.
After Future Noise finished, like, I just have a big sense of, I don't know, a lot of clarity, you know. And right now, I can start planning towards the future, especially, like I said, going back to the roots. I can't tell you how important that is, you know. And that's what being Andy is all about. It's about being that person again, and then doing essentially doing what you guys are doing, you know.
That's
like
awesome.
we all have our own ways and contributions to achieve that same goal. You know? So I'll be doing what I think is necessary to contribute to that, and that's the beauty of it now. You know, I'm in such a good mindset to be able to want to do it again. Where, you know, previously I just didn't have the motivation and the right mentality for it. But right now, it's I'm more motivated than ever. Like, I've got a lot of cool interstate gigs coming up. There's
That's
for
awesome.
Knockout, I'm going to be planning a lot of cool things for that. A lot of new music for that as well. So
Sweet.
there's a lot of different things happening. I think focusing more on Hektic as well is something that I want to do more.
As a producer?
As a producer, as an artist, like as doing all these laser gigs now, and I don't know how far that's gonna take me, but so far it's taken me to places interstate, and I think that's forming part of my identity these days. It's not just the music, the DJing, the laser element is forming part of that identity too.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Can you kind of like sorry before? I'm sorry. Please don't fire me.
Don't do that again.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's gonna fucking fire me, guys. I guess I'm curious because obviously you work full time, right? And you also it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of hours to get and organize these events. And obviously there's two of you, but it still takes heaps. You got the venue and the coordination with the acts and everything. Can you kind of take us through what your day? Obviously you don't really work as much on Shokk when there's no event coming up, right? But take us through what a week would be like. I'm curious. What a week would be like leading up to a weekend like Euphoria or like Ruler. What does that look like? Is that working 12-hour days like to the bone, or is that like
Depends. It really depends because every venue is different. There's a lot of pre-planning that goes on. I think the week of, or even before that, there's a lot of discussions with your production team about what you want to do. You're trying to build something that fits within your budget as well. And then you start talking about the nitty gritty things like, when the act lands, the transfers, the accommodation, how they get to and from the venue, like all those little things. And, you start to strategize on how your day is going to look, because you want to have as much time to essentially program. Setting up is one thing, but programming everything to make it look good is another thing. And you want to have as much time on that as possible. But I think for me, to have the right state of mind coming to events, I need to, do a lot of climbing, a lot of cardio. I need to really move, because I do like to have a climb before an event, if
Really?
on the same day if possible. But I'm happy with the day before. But I always want to do something active. I come in with a much.
Would you
better
take the
mind.
day off then? Let's say it's on a Friday night. Like Euphoria was on a Friday. Obviously, you might. Would you work on Fridays like 9 to 5 or?
Depends, because usually, we haven't had a Friday event in a while. That Friday, I didn't need to take off because I came in later.
Okay.
And, thankfully I had Carl, Cam and Steve who did a lot of the heavy lifting for us. I came in later in the evening to, do my bit. And, But generally speaking, if it depends on the venue and what it needs. If I'm needed there, then I will take the day off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most days, like if it's like if it's everything's running smoothly, you can kind of chill out a little bit, go for a climb, go for a run, do whatever you need to do.
He still takes the day off. He just doesn't rock up.
No.
He's like playing Fortnite at home with his cat.
PlayStation.
I can take time off climbing if I need to, but I try. This is the thing about doing events. Like, if you want to keep going, you really have to look after yourself. And once you start missing those days, it's really hard to get to keep yourself motivated. It's very easy to lose motivation after an event, because it takes it out of me completely, physically and mentally.
It's like giving birth.
Yeah, if that's what it feels like, then
Come on, guys. It's a good comparison. An event is like a baby. It's your baby. Is the event,
and I'm delivering that baby.
And you
right?
delivered the baby. You delivered Euphoria pretty well.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And you're right. After the event's been delivered, I'm in all like different sets of emotions. So yeah, it's
See, pretty good. That's a pretty good analogy.
Like, since you've been like a promoter for a very long time, how do you feel going back into being like, once again, a producer, a DJ, building up your name again? Like, what's the vibe feeling like? We're seeing Laura obviously take a step into the whole influencer kind of limelight kind of stage, and just dippy dabbling around with it, just playing around, seeing where she goes.
yeah. She does a lot of filming. Yeah.
Your identity, how do you feel kind of trying to bring that, to the next level now?
It's you just have to. It feels like for me starting all over again. I know what I need to do, but it's just all about doing it. You got to stay. You got to have ideas, and then you got to turn those ideas into something. And you know, and right now I'm just talking to a lot more people than what I did in the past.
That's
you know?
good. That's
And,
really good. Yeah.
you know, just trying to create opportunities. That's the best thing you can do. And that's what I'm trying to do. Just create some opportunities where I can. And, you know, thankfully prior to this, things were already happening. But now that I'm committed to it,
Yeah.
I'd like to see, you know, bigger and better opportunities come out of it.
Would you
And,
change your alias?
Oh, look, I've thought about it, but I just think it's too much work, and that will be like really starting all over again, you know, because it's not gonna guarantee me anything. If I start a new alias, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start from the very bottom. I can't expect to just walk in and just be like, yeah, book me, book
Well,
me.
I used to be Hektic.
Yeah, like
really?
that. None of that even matters when you start a new name.
Wow.
It really doesn't.
Oh,
It might
jeez.
help with getting, like, depending on how influential you are and how
Yep.
big your brand was. That will probably help, you know, move things quicker. But
Mhm.
like, if you're looking at performing at big places under a different genre, different name, it's tough, man.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, because we've obviously just seen somebody who's kind of taken that leap. Hey, and we never would have known that. I thought it would have just been like, hey, oh yeah, you used to be this guy, like, so let's, you know, we'll take it on and see what happens there. That's
And I think it really depends on what your aspirations are, coming into music. You know,
Mhm.
if your expectation is to be a worldwide superstar and live overseas, make a living for it, then you got to be in for that long game, the even longer game than promoting. You know, there's
Mhm.
so much sacrifice that comes with it. There's so much opportunities of where, you know, you perform and make nothing. That's just kind of how it is. You know, you're trying to make a name for yourself, and you will do whatever it takes to get there.
gotcha. Yeah.
And I just think right now, like, it's just gonna take so much more effort. Let's put Howard in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wants to get to that point, it's
Yep.
gonna be an even bigger challenge for that person.
Yep.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It's gonna take a very special individual to, you know, because like I said to you in the first project act,
Mhm.
they need to have good music, they need to be a good DJ, they need
Yeah.
to be good with social media, they need to
Yeah.
be like very friendly.
Friendly. Yeah.
You know, down
Yeah,
to earth. They need to have
awesome.
that whole package.
Yeah, it's crazy. I couldn't imagine myself. Like once upon a time, I was like, oh, I could be a DJ, or you know, I could be an MC on stage. But when you watch MCD do it, you're like, oh shit, yeah, no.
Well, that's the thing,
That's
you know.
crazy.
If you ever think of doing it there, then I hope it's because you've made that decision yourself. Because
Yes.
I would not want to be like, hey, you should do it because I'm telling you to.
Oh, you can. Feel free to.
No, because it's so much better if you found that journey yourself. Because to me,
Mm.
it feels so much more genuine, and
Mm.
I'd be more inclined to help you more at that point. you
Yeah.
know? So
I think like even coming into the career of DJing or hardstyle in general, I can't even depict or I can't even imagine what it takes to be an MC. You know, like for me, it sounds easy to go on stage and be like, fuck yeah, and then everyone says fuck yeah back, and then I do it again, you know, or time it properly. But the energy, the jumping, you know, and then getting the crowd going, knowing what they like, remembering almost every hardstyle song in existence, really, in order to, you know, make sure you get your timing almost perfectly. Or do they rehearse that? Am I being lied to?
He's in a room like fuck yeah to the mirror, bro. He's like, all right, lock in, you know.
yeah, I think if you want to be a successful MC, you really need, like, the one biggest thing you need is confidence, because
I got
you
hits.
could have all these lines, all these things prepared, and you know, a good MC would have their lines prepared. You know,
Really?
they would have their moments prepared, especially if you're doing it for a big artist. You want to know all their tracks, and you want to find all the right gaps to be able to say something. You know,
Wow.
because as an MC, the thing that you don't want to do, and the thing that you'll get shit or ever for,
Mm.
is when you start, you know, singing along or going over the top of, say, circles and squares. You know, that whole vocal part. Imagine an MC going over the top of it. You gotta be like, shut the hell up. You know? So that's
we had that on stream.
We have that on stream. We did that
We
Martha
got a text on the chat saying, can you guys shut the fuck up real
Yeah,
quick?
and that's, you know, that's the shit MCs have to deal with, you know,
Yeah.
because to be a good MC, you got to learn how to, you got to be hated first before you get liked. And I've seen that a lot with D. You know, I've seen him cop so much negativity, and he still does, but at the end of the day, he rises above that.
Mm.
And, you know, for the people who do compliment him, that's all he focuses on.
Yeah.
But to be a successful MC, man, like that confidence, I'll tell you what, for me to take on MCing, I've had so much stage fright by doing it, and it's taken years to develop confidence and to deliver it naturally, you know.
Mhm.
Because when you try to force it, it's so hard. You really need to be absorbed in the music, and honestly, like you need to have a bit of ego as well when you're performing as an MC, because you need to have that confidence where it's just like, I own you guys. You're gonna listen to me.
Nah.
Like,
No, I get it.
You're mine for tonight.
I look at MCD sometimes and I'm like, hey man, just really mutual.
I'm always curious, right? Like when
Yeah.
I want MCD on the stream, I want to ask him like, does it ever trip him up when a DJ remixes a track like live? Let's say it's a live set, and they do a fake drop, and he's like 3, 2, 1, and it's not like the drop. I wonder what he feels like when he's like, oh shit,
I
and it's
mean-
like. Have you felt that? Have you done that,
I've-
MC?
What do you mean? I've been guilty of doing that to him. The times like, oh, when
Has he ever talked to me like, "No, dude, that was not cool.
No,
that was not
he'll
good."
come up and be like, he'll swear at me. He'll be like, "Why did you do that?" No, there's been many times. I think there's been times where Andy and I have just tried to troll him, and you just see him like he'll do it, then just look at you like. So, we do have fun and games, but these days I try to, not do it as much, because at the end I do want him to perform to his best of his ability. So those fun and games were over. But yes, it has happened. But I think these days, like, what D does is he'll kind of scope out the track. Like, I mean, if I'm MCing and I don't know the track, I'll go to the CDJ, look at the waveform, because at least you'll be able to see when the drop comes, and you'll have a better picture of how the track's gonna go.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
I thought they were just like, if the volume's really high, then it goes up, and
But if
Is
if you know music structure well enough and you listen to hardstyle well enough, you'll start to naturally know where the gaps are,
yeah.
and that just comes with experience.
I must say, man, like, you probably haven't noticed, but I'm the crowd chanter. Like, everyone knows me. but-
Yeah, I know.
Right? Can I?
Yes,
Yeah? Yeah? Can we say that? Whenever someone's taking a video, you hear me screaming. I'm, like the really off-pitch voice. That's me. Yeah.
That's great.
Are you proud of that?
Absolutely. Man. I am all for anyone being as enthusiastic as possible. I
Yeah.
think if you're gonna do that, have no shame
Mm.
and just do you, because you don't realize how many other people around you lift and
Yeah.
do the same.
Mm.
Because if you're not doing it, then
Who is?
yeah,
I
Yeah.
like
don't care what they say, bro. I think you're doing a great job. Forget about the haters.
For me?
Yeah, I don't care what they say.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you're a great guy.
No, I'm trying to overtake MCD at some stage. I'm slowly
if we-
withering him down.
If we have a smaller event for Shokk, I reckon we can like give this guy a test drive, see what he's like
Oh, no,
in
bro.
the boiler room.
I'm gonna be the
Put him on
guy.
the spot. Yeah, put him on the boiler room. I'll see
gonna
what
be
he
on
comes
stage.
up
I got
with.
one condition:
Okay.
only if Brandon asks genuinely.
Ask genuinely. Ah,
You've actually got to want to.
I'll get down on one knee and I'll be like, Andy,
No,
please.
that's not genuine though. That's,
That's
you gotta
Please,
be sincere. Be like, fam, handshake,
Yeah.
MCD, please. Yeah, nice and firm. Like,
Okay.
I want to do this. This is my dream.
He's gonna get the mic and he's gonna like knight me with the
Yeah,
mic.
exactly. Like, it's gonna be sincere. None
Yeah.
of this on your knees bullshit. You
I
know,
think
like,
I'll have to practice, like, get back into fitness before I start doing MCing, because I reckon I'd go on stage and I'd trip over a cable and it's all fucked. Like, that's probably the envisionment for me.
boo, get off, get off.
Who is this guy?
No, but I've had some MCs over the years who we've tried to mentor and tried to let them become the next MCD essentially, but it's hard, because I've seen one guy naturally, he's got amazing energy, and he's the kind of guy that would start a chant as well. Like
Yeah.
he has that ability, and I remember when we rehearsed this on the microphone, he was great, but then come the day of performing, he just decided to get absolutely pissed because he got that much stage fright. He needed the confidence, but I tell
shit.
you what, all it did was it just ruined his performance. Because as an MC, it's a skill to be able to MC, but it's also a skill to learn how to shut the hell up.
Damn. Fuck. I'm not good at
Zip
that.
it, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm not good at that, bro.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
And when you have too much alcohol to drink, you start to lose sight of that.
Yeah, true. Well, there goes my MC career. But yeah.
Who knows? There's a spot for you as a lighting dude. You can be up on the rafters, like pointing.
Nah, man, I've seen him in the box. I
Yeah,
don't
dude.
I don't think I could do that.
I want to say when Andy's in like the what do you call it, like the light, like
Yeah.
what do you call it, the little like setup. this guy's locked in, bro. Whenever someone's like, "Hey, nice event," he's like,
Absolutely.
just not talk to anyone. Like, unless it's like a close friend, like or someone he knows, he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Bro?" And then back into it, like, you know.
Just trying to talk and
Yeah.
at the same time. Yeah, like I get absolutely invested into it, you know, because trying to create something at that moment, you know.
It's the feeling.
Yeah, you might hear a track and I'll probably say to guys, I need this track for the lasers.
Yeah.
Did you panic? So last time at Ruler, you mentioned that you had to troubleshoot the lasers for Weaver. What was that like? Were you stressing or like?
Of course I was, cause you know, like,
That was a really good set by Weaver. It was really fun. It was a good like bump up before Ruler set. I think it was before Ruler, and it was a good hype up set before, right? And I think I kind of noticed that there weren't any lasers. Like, oh, there's no lasers.
What actually happened that night is just something so baffling, you know. And these are the things that just happen, unfortunately. Like, you know, I had all my lasers were turned on. I had connection to all of them, but then it was very patchy. You had one laser here, one laser there. It was just like, I can't turn this on. It just looks weird, you know. And the thing we had to do to troubleshoot it in the end was Carl had to climb up and just turn everything off and then back on again, and then suddenly it all worked.
Did he have to like blow on it or something?
Not
And
quite like that.
put the cartridge back in the thing like a fucking DS.
Not quite like that, but you know, it's just sometimes these things do happen, you know, and like that's why you need all this time to prepare for it, because you always do these checks to make sure everything's working, and it was just a freak of nature accident, you know. I can't even explain it, but look, at the end of the day, you know, Carl turned everything on and off, and then we're back in action. So
That's good.
yeah.
Have to get onto Optus for that one. On and off again, please. I do that all the time. Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to mention? Anything that you had on your mind that you'd like to speak about? And like maybe even get our opinions on it. Feel free to. I think you guys, you came up with something last time. Blurt anything at us. Throw me under the bus. I don't really mind, you know.
Let's talk about, you know, that interview you guys did with Ruler. I think
Oh damn.
I think you guys played that really well, because it was probably a good idea to not ask me about it before the event, because like I said, if you did, it probably wouldn't have gone down that way. So at the end of the day, I admire the fact that you guys took the initiative, had some balls, and pulled something absolutely outrageous.
I have to say, I still think he's a little bit mad.
What for what?
No, I'm not.
For the Ruler?
Like the interview questions.
Not at all,
and,
not
like,
at
the
all.
way that
Oh
we-
yeah, my bad about the piss in the pool. I was out of pocket now. I was like, I had one too many drinks that night just for the confidence, and I was
think
like,
No, but I think he
Whoops.
appreciated it because
Yeah.
he used it in his
His-
Australia tour.
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
did he print the I piss in the pool T-shirt
Yeah.
just for that?
No. He already had it. It's an old photo.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an old photo of him, and he pisses. Yeah, he's got a T-shirt that says "piss in the pool," and then he edited it through.
Yeah.
But I think you've started to realize as well that that's just
Whoopsies.
our nature, and that's the comedic effect, or that's the way that we present our content. When we came up to it, because the day before we were a little bit gutted. I was on a fucking cruise, so I was like sitting there, and I was like, oh shit, we don't have Ruler, but we can make a lot of different content. And then Howard kind of jumped on board, and he was like, oh, let's do this, and let's get onto this, and we'll get the community going and get the vibe of the people in the audience. And then Danny or Laura that morning, she was like, yeah, you know what, if there is space and there's time, or you know, and if it's not too cramped and he's really open to it, we'll get it going.
I felt real bad seeing that
Yeah.
green room for like, I think the two Andys walked past me like, what the fuck's this guy doing here? Like, he's like, I'm like panhandling by the door. I'm like, please sir, can I get an interview? And then I just stay there. Luckily, I think he was in a pretty good mood. I think he was a bit tired, I could tell, but I think he was okay with the interview. And yeah.
How do we come up with the questions? Like, what's
We
our
were-
process?
We
to
were
be
actually,
honest?
we were in a coffee shop. We were brainstorming questions, and somehow you morons let me say that one question.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I kind of hold that one in.
No, because like most of it is just us sitting down for a couple hours and then doing a big giant Instagram store, trying to find everything we can on Google.
Yeah.
Because we try to keep it a little bit lighthearted. Like at the end of the day, you know, especially guys like Ruler who have such a great character, we want to try to show that they're human too. And I think that's what we really want to do here with Project Act, is to show all the hard work that goes in behind the scenes, and that at the end of the day, you guys are human too. You guys have your own challenges, your own obstacles, and just to, you know, kind of show our appreciation of all that you guys do and the DJs, for the community in Australia.
No, let's keep doing what you're doing, guys. Like, I think like I said, what you guys pulled off there, that's the kind of things I like to see. I like to see someone just kind of just take the initiative and just try and do something. Like I said before, it's good that you guys didn't ask me beforehand, because given my state of mind leading into the events, not the kind of question you want to ask Andy at the time,
Yeah.
So it was good. It that saying,
We're gonna
it's better to
Ruler.
ask for forgiveness. No, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I think that statement right there was so
Forgive
valid.
me. I'm sorry.
Forgiven.
Right, next time we walk up to Andy, so we're gonna ask Headhunters if he likes to piss in the pool now. Yeah.
If you get him to answer that, bro, it's gonna be like the most.
It's a
viral
miracle?
video. Yeah. Man,
Trust me, we'll get it. We'll get it. I actually I think that's my end goal for this whole interviewing thing.
To crack a smile from Headhunters.
Just to even get an interview with him, because I have a lot of questions I want to ask, and I've listened to a lot of his music, and I kind of can grasp what kind of person he is outside of this whole DJ persona. Because I've gone through this whole I wouldn't say spiritual, mumbo jumbo stuff, but along the line of the more spiritual aspect, or higher up or whatever. Just how do I explain it? It's a hard one. Do you know
You've
what
grown as a person.
I've grown
Just-
as a
He's grown
person.
spiritually.
I've grown
yes,
spiritually,
on that spiritual
and
side.
he obviously puts a lot of that into his music. He has a lot of lyrics that involve, hey, let's do this. You can do this. Choose your career. This is who you are, and this is your moment, and I really resonate with that. So I think if I were to have an interview with him, it'd just be a very heart to heart kind of thing. And I think that's also what's missing in the current interviews, and why he might not want to do interviews with other people, because it is quite generic usually.
Yeah.
You like Zag kicks?
Yeah.
You like PVC kicks? What's that like?
Yeah.
Hey, Headhunters. You're gonna do your tour in Australia?
And that's what we specialize in. We specialize in digging deep down and really bringing out the emotion. If Future Noise can bring out the emotion in his audience, we can bring that emotion that you don't normally think about and bring it out on that night and make you think back to it.
It's just humanizing them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you think that DJs, but at the end of the day, they're still people too. They go through their own struggles. Same with you. That's why I wanted to ask, how's your growth since last time we talked, which was end of last year, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
something like that. And I wanted to know how you were going from there and how you've grown, or, how you progressed. And I'm just curious.
There was some good moments. There's been some bad moments as well. And those bad moments, led me to wanting to cancel Future Noise and to
Thank God you didn't.
and to have, much less hope in the scene, because, the events were good, but they weren't at the standard that we expected to be. And it was only with Ruler and then Future Noise, that's when we really started to feel the spark come back. That's kind of the familiarity that us and all people who attend the events know and feel. So it was good to get back to that, because I'll tell you what, guys, had Ruler and Future Noise have failed, I don't think we'd be here right now.
Oh, yeah. We weren't gonna let that happen. I don't think we would I don't think, even if it had failed, I don't think we could let you give up. To be honest, I'd hate to say it. Yeah, I know financial aspects are part of it, but realistically, I think this is something that you've built up, and we take pleasure in seeing it grow and succeed. So we would be extremely devastated to see you just kind of pack up and leave, to be honest.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not having any thoughts about that at all, you know. And that's what the greatest story about all this is. So how I've been is overcoming all that nonsense, you know. So.
And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
It is a challenge. Yeah.
We all have our dark days, and I've certainly had it, you know.
Yeah, well, I'm over the moon because MCD posted an interview with Future Noise and it sucked.
Whoa! What the fuck is this?
We just got better views. That's all. We're at 20,000 or 21,000, and he's currently at 9.
Okay. Respectfully, we put out ours first before his, so it's just timing. It's not actually the video. It's just timing.
Exactly. That's what you get for being a copycat.
Oh my god. MCD, if you need a assistant MC, it's me, not him. I'm backing you up. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, D was all over the interviews at Midnight Mafia.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great idea, because that was actually the first time I've seen him kind of do that. You
Yeah,
know?
we did it first. I'm telling you.
Guys taking credit for everything. Made the wheel.
Yeah. Light bulbs, everything, man. Yeah, but you were saying, because we don't, yeah, what's that backstage perspective of, bringing back interviews, bringing out that personality? How do you feel about it?
Look, I think it's good. I think people do want to see this, but there's, I don't know if people know how to ask for it, and so I keep pumping out this content, bro, because people do like watching this, like they're seeing different perspectives and how you guys go about it. It's gonna be, no two products will be the same. How D interviews his, how you guys go about yours. Like, that's his flavor, that's your flavor. And
He'll never ask, do you piss in the pool?
Yeah.
I do that. Me.
and that's
I'm gonna ask, what do you call it, Mish, if she pisses in the pool. Double down on it, baby. I have no shame.
All right, I better tell these agencies that if anything bad is spoken about these guys, I don't know them.
You don't know them. They snuck into the green room.
They snuck
They snuck into the green room.
Media pass? I don't know how they got that.
No, they must have snuck in.
Alright, just see Andy just burning the papers of like the guest list. Don't know him.
He's got a knife. He's cutting out the names quickly. There's a gap in here. Nah, we don't know. I think we like the persona of being the internet trolls, which DJ Sway has done it for quite a while, and we just want to bring back the fun. And it's all love. Like, we deeply respect what MCD has done. We look up to all of you guys, and we hope to continue on, what you guys have started for us, and kind of, magnify and amplify it within the smaller community of up and coming and rising DJs or content creators. I think that's what we specialize in, and we like to give it a little fun twist so that you guys can have a laugh at it. But yeah, after all that, we completely admire everything that has happened to this day, even before we had started, because we wouldn't be here if that hadn't existed, for sure.
Thanks, guys. Well, just know that, this type of platform allows me to kind of express myself openly, because I know if you guys didn't do this, I probably wouldn't be able to be as open about these things. I certainly wouldn't post an Instagram story and be like, blah, 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 describe everything I described today. It's just not, for me, it doesn't seem like you'll get the emotion behind it, you know what I mean? If I did it just sound like I'm complaining.
Yeah, it's different too when there's a few people here and you can talk and you can conversate, because that's what other people relate to. And I think that's what we want the viewers to understand, is sometimes you do have to get with your friends or the people around you and just have a conversation and communicate and talk about how you're going and what's going on and what you're thinking sometimes, because when those thoughts really get in your head, hey, it really messes you up. And when you just can't really pick out the solution. It's like, oh, what do I do? But just being able to communicate with somebody, they have their input, and you might still say like, nah, I don't like that, but at least that's not an option, and you look for something else, so that's what's super important, and we want to give that to you for being able to help us, and that would go the same for anybody else out there, really.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I think what you guys see is like, just know that this help goes to anyone who really wants to put the effort in. I think that reputation speaks for itself. I've done it with countless people, and I'll still keep doing it for as long as people keep wanting to try.
Yeah. Here we are. Let's start the new generation, because.
Say that again.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Here we are.
No, media train.
And getting ready. We're getting ready to start the new generation, because the old geezers are starting to fade out. That's all I'm saying.
That'll be me soon.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, oh no, you didn't see the post the other day. I've been taking a lot of jabs at MCD. I'm really sorry, but the other day, HSU posted on their Instagram. They said they need accounts or influencers with 50,000 followers plus in order to like promote for their brand. And obviously, like, there's not many people out there in Australia that probably listen to hardstyle or that are very religiously into it, that have that many followers, to be honest. Even the current influencers that I have on board were kind of like gobsmacked by it. So I put it on Instagram and I was like, we're doing a little, party at my place for the people who didn't make the cut for Instagram influencers for HSU. And unfortunately, MCD's joining because he doesn't, because he didn't make the cut. He doesn't have enough.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
He's gonna blacklist you from every
He
Shokk
is.
event.
Yeah, he's gonna walk past me next time, just grease me off and walk straight. But I'm like, hey, MCD, and he's like, Nah.
Dick,
bro.
bro.
Don't you guys want him on your stream?
We do.
We actually really want him on the stream. I think he's got a lot of story, a lot of wisdom to
Yeah.
give.
I've asked
But
him.
this guy keeps shooing him up with his damn trolling, bro. Shut up.
Starting some internet beef for no reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
It's fun. It's fun. Like one day, I hope to have Pete on the other side. So he plays a lot of tennis. So I was gonna send him a text or give him a call, and I'm like, I'm gonna download a game on my PlayStation that's tennis, and if I beat you, I get free tickets to HSU. But if you beat me, I'll pay for the private suite. That's $40,000. Yeah,
You know what? That would be a good bet.
that's a good bet.
That's a really good
I'm
bet.
pretty sure I beat him. There's no way. Yeah, we need a. I'll get on the phone to Pete right now. And we'll work
Try
something
challenge
out.
him in chess for that same thing.
Is he really good?
He's really good at chess.
Don't do it.
Don't
Don't do it. Why don't you do
Yeah.
long balls?
Lawn bowls. Yeah, this is the community though. We need more stuff like this. Bring you guys, into what we see and what we feel as just normal people, because we hold you guys super highly. People don't even know who Pete is really. If you were to see him walking out on the street, you just don't know who he is. But he's one of the nicest person we've met. Probably one of the smartest people you've met.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it blows my mind, and I think more people should know this about everybody.
We'll set that as a goal. I think it's very possible for you guys to do that, and I think it would be good for people to see because I don't think he does these type of interviews, but that could be a challenge for you guys to overcome.
Yeah. All right. I'll handcuff him. You put something in his mouth, and we drag him here.
Fuck. No, we get MCD here first, dude. Stop scaring him away.
One day we'll just set this up for you, and we'll sit you, MCD, Andy,
And Sway.
Sway, and Pete, just all right here, just on the couch, and you guys can talk about whatever the fuck you want.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
That would be, so
that'll be
cool.
super fun, I reckon. Yeah, bring all the boys together. Have a couple drinks. We'll get you snacks. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's just hella quiet. So, what's your day like? Yeah, it's just hella
So
quiet.
like hardstyle, huh?
Well, guys,
Yeah.
just want to say thank you for having me on the show. I do have to run to my gig now.
That's okay.
But,
Yes, of course.
It's been lovely to chat. Fucking 2 hours have gone by so quick, and
Yeah.
I hope to do this with you guys again soon, and I hope from now until whenever we do our next event, we can all build on this community aspect
100%.
together.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll be in the talks of everything that's going on.
For sure.
And we'll try and build something up and get it going. I just wanted to do one thing, and we can do it live. That's okay. I'm gonna ask you. Okay. I'm gonna say a lot of people are saying that you're transitioning or that you are just a hard techno DJ, and you're gonna throw the mic at Dom and you're just gonna walk off. All right. That's all. Yeah. Just pretend you're really pissed off about it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He said,
throw it a bit
yeah.
Give me a bit more.
You gotta throw the mic.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
why don't you throw this mic? It's bigger.
Yeah. No, because I want to do some promo, so I think this will really spark up some interest.
Let's get all the
That'll be
alcohol and the water
Oh.
and the bottles out
What
of the way.
did Project Gak do this time? That pissed the DJ off,
Yeah, we're gonna create
Yeah.
some drama. So what's the lines?
No, I'm gonna say, I'm ready. I'm just gonna start now, and then as soon as I finish talking, you just storm off and just pretend you're really pissed off, okay? Andy, I've heard from the streets that you are just a hardstyle techno DJ, and that you are nothing without HSU. How do you feel?
Well, you know what? Thanks for nothing, and thanks for having me on your shitty stream.
Whoa!
Ouch. Well, that's Project Gact, guys, and I hope you guys tune in for our stream in the next coming weeks. It was a pleasure to have Andy Hektic on here, and well, that's a abrupt ending. Peace out, my boys. Couch surfing.